Hey guys, it is Monday afternoon. It's about 3:30 and it is currently 101 degrees here in Tucson. So I'm going to head up Mount Lemmon, which if you're not familiar, it's just a couple miles from my house and it's about 8,000 to 9,000 feet at the top. I'm going to do an energy consumption test on the car today, not a range test. So we're going to check everything that we have, what the car is charged to right now, how many miles is predicted. When we get to however high we go up on the mountain, we're going to go at least to Windy Point, which is about mile 14. We're going to check the consumption there, and then we're going to come back down the mountain and check the consumption when we get here and then compare the two. I think it'll be very interesting. I did this with my Volt and it was kind of fun. Mount Lemmon averages about 5% incline from the base to the top. This is not scientific, obviously, just kind of a fun little look at how the car is able to put energy back in the battery and how much energy it uses going uphill versus downhill. You get the idea. So let's take a look at what the car is currently charged to, and we'll get started. All right, so we are in the trip screen. We're going to use the since last charge and the current drive. Trip A is from the moment I picked the car up, and this is the total mileage on the car, so I've been trying to leave those guys alone. So we're going to start at, looks like 213 miles of range. I've been using 70% of late since I haven't been driving the car that much. Again, when we get to the top, we'll take a look at the energy we consumed, and we'll go from there, and we'll check back in a little while. Sorry, just one more thing before we get started. So I just put in Windy Point. You can see the route, it's all uphill, and it is predicting 28 minutes, 16 miles, which that's pretty much from my house, that's correct. We're gonna have 54% when we get there. Again, we're at 70% now. Let's see how close we are when we get there. 59% will be left when we get home. So that's pretty interesting. So let's see how that works out. As we're leaving the neighborhood here, I have the AC just set on speed 4 and it's at 64 degrees. I'm just gonna leave it there. And I am in insane mode, but I'm just gonna drive normal. This car is so nice in the fact that you can easily drive it slow. And I'm not really certain that it would be much different, but it may be. So we're about 5 miles in, and you can see the projections have actually gone up a little bit, which is interesting. 61% turnaround and 56% when we get to Windy Point. I thought that was kind of interesting. And as you can see, man, this is really, it's a great place to ride your bike, motorcycle and or road bicycle like I like to do. Great place for camping, hiking, bringing your dogs, skiing, as I think I mentioned earlier. It's just an amazing place to have, especially in the summer when it's brutally hot. It's a good way to escape. You just don't want to come up here on the weekends because, you know, everybody does. But it is a great place to have. So we are getting close to Windy Point here. Very popular spot. As you'll see, I'll show you the overlook here. As soon as we stop, I'll go over the numbers to this point, and then I'll give you a quick tour so you can get an idea of if you're interested in coming up here, if you're not from the area. All right, we're gonna park, and I'll show you some numbers here. Oh look, they got a telescope hooked up over there. Sometimes those guys come out here too. All right, so let's take a look. So 17 miles, this said 16 from when we left the house, but it's probably give or take a little bit. 31 minutes, 590 watt hours per mile. That's crazy. And let's take a look at, oh, we used 10 kilowatt hours to get up here. So that's really the number I'm interested in to see what it takes to get home versus, or get downhill versus coming up. I think that's gonna be pretty interesting. And actually, our numbers were pretty good. it said 57%, and we're at 57%. Originally, I think, didn't it say 54? I have to look back at the video, but so even a little bit better than what they predicted, and I know for sure that that's better than what I think it was 59% when we left home. But anyway, kind of cool to see. This car is pretty efficient, especially compared to the Model Y that we have. Anyway, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the round, and then we'll get back home and I'll show you the results. I love this shot of the road from up here. Super cool. You can hike out there too. You can see the people probably up there. Yeah, you can hike around this whole area. It's beautiful. We're gonna walk down here to this other area too, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. There's the car. Anyway, they got this little lookout area too. And some, actually, I've never been up to look at what that sign says right there, but some other cool stuff. There's more of the road down there you can see. Apparently someone had a girl. That's exciting. So way over there, it's Mount Wrightston. It gets snow up there too, and a really cool place to hike. And in one of my old Jeep videos, we did partial hike up there. Really nice off-roading in that area. There's the Rincons. It's Reddington Pass through there. And we've been back in through there. That's where I went to the Cliff House. And then there's Thimble Peak, which is a popular, my son used to call it Nipple Mountain. He was thought that was very funny. Anyway, we'll get back on the road here and give you the numbers when we get back to my house. All right, so we just arrived home. As you can see, negative 175 watt hours per mile on that drive. It went down from like almost 600 watt hours per mile average down to 208. 34 miles total, 7 kilowatt hours used. So we put 3 kilowatt hours back into the battery. And let's go over here to trips. So this last drive, 17 miles, 28 minutes, minus 175 kilowatt hours. That's pretty cool, man. It's kind of neat. And then again, that's just basically what we have over here. Very cool stuff. So I'll kind of sum it all up here in just a second. Kind of a fun little video checking out the car's ability to put energy back in the battery, I guess. Checking how much it would take to get us up to 14 miles to Windy Point at about an average grade of 5%, and then how much energy we would actually maybe gain back coming back downhill. And it turns out it was, as we already saw earlier, when we got up to Windy Point, it took 10 kilowatt hours of energy to get us there. And the car was using 590 watt hours per mile to do the drive up, which is kind of interesting. That's the highest I think I've ever seen when paying attention. And then the return trip to my house was actually negative 175 watt hours per mile, which is kind of interesting. And then the total drive showed that we used a total of 7 kilowatt hours. So that essentially means we put, coming down the hill, 3 kilowatt hours back into the battery. The car predicted that initially it predicted up at the top of the hill we'd be at 54%, when in reality when we got up there we were at 57% state of charge, and it predicted initially 59% for the entire round trip up and back as far as what would be left in the battery, and we actually ended up with 61% left in the battery, or 184 miles left of range when we got back home. So if you take 213 miles minus the actual miles driven, which was 34, that would give us, we should have 178 miles left in the battery, but we actually had 184 miles left of range. And I think that's just from driving downhill, basically. So kind of cool. I don't know, it was a fun test to do. It was nice to get out of the heat for just a little while. And Windy Point's a really pretty place. If you guys are coming to Tucson, or you're from Phoenix or something, you come down here, it's actually a really nice drive. Certain times of year, it's very green, lots of water. It does get snow at the top. There's actually a little lake up there that you can fish in. And again, hiking, everything you can imagine. It's a great place for all kinds of stuff. You can actually, they have a little lodge up there now that you can stay on Mount Lemmon. I hear it's kind of expensive, but it's pretty cool if you're not from the area, especially. It's kind of nice. And then you've probably seen it in some of my off-road videos, so you can actually drive up and over the main road and then go down the backside of Mount Lemmon, which is a dirt road. It's not very technical. It can be at times depending on the weather, but and you can drive all the way back around to Reddington Pass. So you could do a day trip, all kinds of fun stuff to do on Mount Lemmon. But anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And if you need to buy a Tesla these days, or you're looking to buy a Tesla, you could use my referral code that's in the description. Save yourself $1,000. And if you don't use mine, definitely use somebody's code to buy it if you're going to buy a car, because you will save that $1,000. All right, guys, if you have any questions, my email's in the description as well, or you can leave it below. Take care. Thanks for watching.